today's show, we take a first look at Forza Horizon and our interview with Ralph Fulton. Welcome to Inside Sim Racing for our E3 2012 special edition. Today we're covering Forza Horizon. I'm Sean Cole with my good buddy
Darren Ganji.
And you know, we already put a video out showing you a little bit of briefing from Dan Granawalt, as well as a little presentation by Ralph Fulton about Forza Horizon. But then I also got to interview him as well.
Yep.
And we got to do some driving.
Yeah, which was really cool. Another one of these deals where we got to check things out pre-E3, which I'd like to thank Turn 10 for hooking us up with that, because the show floor can just be a zoo.
Yeah.
And being able to talk to these guys and talk to them about their new titles, you know, on the show floor is just not the easiest thing.
No, and being able to do an interview in a quiet room versus the floor, which is just insane with lights and too much noise.
Yep. So we got to go check it out at the Ritz-Carlton, in downtown LA, and it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was just in a suite up in the Ritz. So let's check out that interview with you and Ralph.
Here we go. I'm here with Ralph Fulton, who is the design director of Forza Horizons, and we're here getting a little preview of the game. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I'm very excited getting to see a new version of Forza. I wasn't expecting any new version of Forza. And let's talk a little bit about your studios and how this all came to be.
Sure. Well, Playground Games was set up in early 2010. The founders really had a long heritage in making really great racing games. We set Playground Games up to be the best racing developer in the world. It wasn't long after we set up that we first met Dan and the guys from Turn 10. And talking about racing games and our passion for car culture turned into talking about opportunities. And Dan really challenged us to try and bring something new to the Forza franchise. And that's exactly how Forza Horizon came about.
Okay. Now, Playground Games, a lot of the guys at that studios, a lot of the background are some games like Split Second, even some of the Codemasters games. A lot of maybe more arcade titles that I think of than maybe Forza, where they take car culture so seriously. What's it like taking those two companies and putting them together on one project?
Sure. Well, I guess the first thing I'd say is that collectively, Playground Games has a really strong heritage in making top quality racing games. You know, a lot of our staff come from not just Codemasters, but from Bizarre Creations, from Black Rock. I guess the second thing I'd say is that making the games we've made in the past, I certainly wouldn't characterize as taking car culture lightly. You know, we're really passionate about racing games and really passionate about car culture in general. That's actually been the sort of values we found we share with Turn 10. We have a lot of commonality with them right from the first meeting. So it makes working with them really, really easy.
Now, in the game, you talked about it being very easy to jump into. But at the same time, again, Forza is a real physics-based racing title that some might not even say is an easy game to play. What's the approach when you're trying to design a game that kind of achieves both goals in one title?
Well, you know, I bet if you asked Dan that question, he would say that the Forza franchise has always been about combining serious authenticity simulation with accessibility. You know, that's why you can switch assists on and off. That's why you have a variety of difficulty levels. So, you know, we've been really fortunate to pick up on a series which has these values instilled in it right from the start. But yeah, our game is designed to be pick up and play. You know, we want people to be able to drive fast, drive in a stylish and spectacular fashion right from the start of the game. So yeah, that's a really important thing for us. That in no way means that we're compromising authenticity. The same simulation that underpins Forza 4 underpins Forza Horizon.
So it's really the same physics on both variations here.
Absolutely, 100%, yeah. When you're driving in an open world, you have slightly different demands of a car than when you're driving on a racetrack. You know, occasionally you'll want to turn around and go in the opposite direction. A lot of the time you'll be weaving madly to try and weave in and out of civilian traffic. But where we've made changes, we've made changes to car setups. We've made changes to suspension setups to make that kind of maneuvering more easy. The underpinning physics is exactly the same.
Okay. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the open world. I mean, I think right off the bat, that's probably the biggest difference between Forza 4 and Forza Horizon. Do you have any idea how much terrain we're talking about?
We do, but we're not actually talking about numbers yet. I mean, what I'm really happy to talk about is the scale and diversity of the Colorado world we've built. That was really key for us to find a place which was visually stunning, environmentally diverse, and crucially offered the best driving roads in the world. I mean, we researched almost 30 places from around the world, looking for places that ticked all the boxes, the best driving roads in the world, the most spectacular scenery, an environmental diversity which allows you to find new things at every turn. Colorado just ticked all of those boxes.
Okay, and in the presentation you talked a lot about different types of terrain, and obviously Colorado being somewhere that different types of terrain is very common. What are we looking at in the driving experience when we're in Colorado? I mean, what types of terrain will we be looking at, and how will it feel different when I change terrain?
Sure. So one of the great things about Colorado is that there's a really diverse range of driving experiences. You can be driving on interstate, on highways, you can be driving on winding mountain roads. Also, you have a real diversity of the kind of environment there, from the red rock deserts of the south right up to the Rockies across foothills and plains. So there's a really wide range of asphalt driving experiences, but what we also bring to the equation is the many off-road experiences that Colorado offers. When we saw Colorado, when we researched it, we knew we were going to have to take the player off-road, and that's something we're bringing entirely new to the series.
And speaking of differences, I saw some spectacular lighting, some time of day changes. How did that play out? I mean, the lighting in Forza 4 was amazing. How do you take that and get it to actually change from day to night?
Right, so that's the challenge, not for someone like me, but for our amazing rendering guys back at Playground Games. We were fortunate to start from a really good place. We had Forza 4's image-based lighting system. Our challenge was to make that work in real time. So we've added a whole bunch of systems which contribute to the stunning change from day to night. We have a fully dynamic sky and cloud system. The sun itself is dynamic and casts dynamic shadows. We have atmospheric scattering just to make the world feel that bit more believable. And then of course at night, suddenly all our night lighting effects switch on. Suddenly you're driving lit only by your car's headlights, which changes the gameplay experience completely.
No doubt, especially with the fine selection of cars. Now, that's something everybody's going to be wondering out there. Forza has been known for a huge library of cars. Can we expect the entire library over at Horizon?
Well, we're going to talk about that in more detail over the summer. What I'm really happy to talk about is the breadth and diversity of the car list. And we're looking at cars that both reflect the character of the Horizon Festival. Is this a car that someone would really take and show off at the Horizon Festival? And does it really take advantage of the really wide range of driving experiences which Colorado offers? If it ticks both of those boxes, it stands a good chance of being in the game.
Okay, and you used the word festival, so let's focus on that a little bit, because I think that's sort of some of the basis of the game. Do you want to talk a little bit about what people can expect from that festival experience?
Sure. It really goes back to when we were ideating on what we could bring to the Forza franchise, a new take on car culture, and we kept coming back to the relationship between car culture and music culture. Those are two things that really go together. And we looked at the increasing importance of summer music festivals. To the music industry, culturally, they're increasingly relevant. And we imagined a place where all of those things combined, where our passion for cars and our passion for music could be fully realized. And that's exactly what the Horizon Festival is.
Well, I'd actually like to ask you a million more questions, but I know you got a lot going on, and we'll get to see a little more here at E3. Do you have a release date already in mind for the game?
Absolutely. Forza Horizon will be available on Xbox 360 on October 23rd, 2012.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for showing it to us.
Pleasure.
And I can't wait till we learn more about it.
I look forward to it too.
Take your hobby to the next level with a quality racing rig that works great with a PS3, Xbox 360, and a PC. GT Omega Racing Simulator is compatible with a wide range of steering wheels, including Logitech, Fanatec, Thrustmaster, and more. The GT Omega is available now worldwide by going to www.gtomegaracing.com.
Welcome back to the show. Now that you've heard what Ralph had to say about it, if you checked out that earlier video, maybe even heard what Dan Granawalt had to say about it, and now it's time to get some of our thoughts after very brief exposure to it. I mean, it was a small map compared to the open terrain they're talking about, and it was, again, using just a controller. So we weren't using a wheel this time to feel the game.
And we got no footage of us driving it because they really didn't want us filming. So we were hesitant to set the camera up and show us driving it. So you're looking at footage of when the other guy was driving it, when Ralph was talking about it, but very much like the Forza feel. They first had me drive the Viper without driving aids, or with driving aids on, analog brake, stuff like that. And I guess I was going to the Summer Festival.
Right.
The Forza Horizon Summer Festival, which was in the E3 demo. Didn't even realize I was racing, and I almost won the race.
Yeah.
And then Alan Hartman was sitting there with us, and he's like, hey man, try it without, I want you to try it in a realistic mode. So tried it there, and car was definitely more tail happy. You know, again, more along the lines of the Forza physics that we're used to trying. But I had to drive it with the pad, so,
yeah.
You know, really couldn't get a good feel for, you know, what it was like.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, you're kind of going by what you know from Forza and kind of making that comparison to the original, or Forza Motorsport versus Forza Horizon. Now, one thing, this version being made by Playground Games kind of gets them in that same category of one release per year. So we're already looking and anticipating Forza 5 next year, but here we are on the off year, and we do still have that Forza flavor here.
Yep. Now, a little bit about the title that I'd like to talk about is, you know, it's this open world setting, and, you know, they started talking when they were talking about the demonstration and telling us about the game, you know, they mentioned being able to meet up to do street races and stuff like that, and I thought that was really cool, and I just, in my head, I started envisioning this open world where there was a couple hundred people maybe on a server.
Yeah, that'd be outstanding.
And then Sean asked, well, how many people online? And then they said 8. And so that was kind of a disappointment to me, because I don't feel that they're going to really be able to get to the potential of this title without having more people online. I mean, I think it's a great concept.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to driving in an open world, and I'm really looking forward to driving in dirt with their physics. With a wheel and all that stuff. I don't know. But I haven't played the final version yet.
Right.
So, and I didn't try it with a wheel, and I didn't get to experience in multiplayer. I mean, like we were talking, it's going to be a blast racing against each other.
Yeah. You kind of hit upon something that's big to me, and like, they're kind of playing it up like this open terrain is the big feature of the game, and that's cool. But for me, if you can't have a lot of people, then that's not necessarily the biggest or best feature of the game.
You know what? Like first-person shooters.
Right.
If there was this huge map and you only had 10 guys online, 5 on 5, it was like, echo, echo, echo. It's like it's like
3 hours later, it's down to 3 guys against 2. You know?
Exactly. And it's just the map was too big. And and so is that the way you're thinking?
Yeah, and for me that means that there's a lot more focus, and where I'm hoping, and we don't know, this is the unknown of the game so far, but what is that single player career mode? How much is the AI? They talked about the AI being interacted into the game as well. How much is it, and how much fun can I have alone, and how hard is it to find a race?
I think it's the Rivals mode that's going to be the big interaction thing that's going to keep it fresh. Because I just kind of see the single player, but I think you'll be able to do single player stuff in that Rivals mode.
And that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, if your rival set a checkpoint mark, and through open terrain you could theoretically find a shortcut or have different routes to the same point, that could be a blast.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but again, we don't know a lot about it so far. We've only know what we've seen.
Yep. Yeah, and their booth, just like Codemasters we had mentioned in another video, there was no wheels set up. You know, they had a handful of displays where you could run with a gamepad, and that was it. We got some footage of that booth as well. But overall, just kind of a disappointing E3, and I think it goes back to the end of development on this console and this generation of consoles that, you know, we're just, I think just as a whole, E3 just seemed kind of dead. There wasn't just like the, oh my God, this is coming out.
Yeah.
There was none of that at E3 across the board. Yeah. So it was just kind of lackluster.
Yeah, a lot there, but nothing that amazing.
Yeah, I see personally, I think what's going to happen, hopefully the next gen consoles will be coming out next year, and we'll see Forza 5, Gran Turismo 6, you know, F1 2013, and a lot of these other titles coming out on those generation consoles.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a whole lot more.
That's a very exciting thing we have to look forward to.
I'm wondering if it's going to be triple screen compatible.
That would be cool,
like
too.
Motorsport 4. So,
Well, and those graphics were amazing. So driving through Colorado in triple
Yes.
screens, you know, talk about being the sim driver.
and we didn't touch on that much in this piece, but the graphics were incredible. Frame
Yeah.
rates were flowing smoothly. I didn't see
Yeah.
any hiccups, you know, no matter what was going on screen. So, looks like it's going to be fun.
I think so.
And well, one thing quick too, we talked to Christian at
Yeah.
their booth who works with Turn 10, and he said the reception was pretty good.
Actually, this is really cool. He actually talked about, you know, concerns that the hardcore Forza fans were going to not like this, but that they came in and kind of saw the similarities or felt that it was very much Forza in its blood. And then on the other hand, the general gamers were loving it because it's so non-intimidating. I mean, you can just drive off-road, go through a fence, whatever. It kind of, you can't really do anything wrong. It's just all correct or fun driving.
Yeah, and their Motorsport 4 setup, they have, you know, full motion simulators and, you know, people driving them and driving off track, and you know, nobody wants to sit down and embarrass themselves in front of other people.
No, but everyone was loving this, so that's cool.
Yeah. So looking forward to that releasing, what, October
23rd?
was their release date.
I think so.
Hopefully we'll get a copy before that. I'm sure we will. These guys have been really good to us, and we'll be all over it for you guys.
So that's going to wrap things up for today's show. Before we do leave, I'd like to thank all the guys at Turn 10, Dan Grenewalt, Alan Hartman. I'd like to thank Ralph Fulton of Playground Games for, you know, doing that interview and showing us everything with the game. And we actually had a chance to, we kind of had a choice between interviewing
Not
Dan.
kind of. We had a choice. They said, "Do you guys want to interview Dan Grenewalt or Ralph Fulton?" And Sean was doing the interview. I kept my mouth shut, but in my head, I'm like, I'd rather see Ralph on the show. We haven't had him on the show yet. And Dan's been on the show a few times, and I'd like to hear from Playground personally.
Exactly.
Sean picked Ralph.
And so that's the interview you
No
got to
offense,
see.
Dan. No offense.
We'll get you next year, I'm sure.
Yep. We want you for motorsport. So thanks, guys, for everything.
And thanks to Edelman as well. Those are the PR guys who help out Turn 10 and Playground Games in this case, and they arranged the whole meeting. So thanks to those guys as well. And that is going to do it for today. I'm Sean Cole with Darren Ganji. We'll see you on the track.